What's up, everybody? Welcome to K&M 495 Sportscast. This is Mike. As always, I am joined by Kyle Roenick. Kyle, how are you doing today? Let me guess. Fantastic.
I'm amazing, actually. Thank you very much.
Ooh, different. Switched it up.
Thanks, man.
Switched it up. So we're just going to get right in to the big news that happened this week since we've been gone. Jonathan Allen falling to number 17 with the Redskins. We love this pick.
It was Christmas in April.
It was literally the best thing that could happen. I mean, last Sportscast, you asked me, what is your ideal scenario? Realistically, what is your ideal scenario? I was like, ideally, we want Jonathan Allen to fall down to 17. But you're like, yeah, realistically. But realistically, that's not going to happen. There's not going to be a defensive lineman that warrants a 17th pick. And it happened.
It did.
Jonathan Allen, a consensus top 5 prospect on just about every board. I've seen some that had him number 2, some that had him number 1. Mike Mayock had him number 2. I mean, how do you feel about Jonathan Allen? How do you think that he fits?
I think he fits absolutely perfect with what the Redskins want to do. I mean, you can look at it and say the Redskins run a 3-4, but they generally don't. They're in nickel about, I think, 40 or 39% of the time.
Right.
And Jonathan Allen fits perfect with a 4-3 defensive tackle. This is a guy who you can use as passing downs, get to the quarterback, go through double teams, and we've seen go through running backs.
Yes. For you guys who don't know what we're talking about, if you get a chance, go on YouTube. This is some of the best game film you will ever see. Go on YouTube, type in Jonathan Allen Superman sack. This is the most amazing thing you will see from a defensive lineman.
Yeah. I mean, you talk to people who've played the position, and to be able to swim a guard, to be able to start moving towards the quarterback, to have a running back to try to cut block you, and for you to be able to have enough momentum and force behind you
and at that
to
size,
jump 3 yards and to have enough momentum to knock the quarterback down.
He was completely horizontal.
It just shows you how strong that boy is.
I listened to him talk about it the other night because this is a big play. All the analysts, everybody, they always talk about the Superman sack from Jonathan Allen. He was talking about it, and one of the things that I love, not only did he say, he was like, I knew I was lined up over a freshman guard. He was lined up over the guard, and he said, I could tell by the way that his feet were set that it was going to be a pass. His feet were spaced further apart than usual, and his left foot was slightly back a little bit, so I knew he was going to be pass blocking. Mm-hmm. So he didn't even just get into, I gave him a swim move, a rip and dive, a rip and run. He just went right into it. He's like, look, I study my stuff. I know what I'm talking about. I knew that if he had his feet set like this, it was going to be a pass, and that's what he did.
It's a veteran move. It's being able to see the details, and
yes.
that is so hard to do as an NFL rookie. But if you have that, I honestly believe that this guy can be a blue chip for us.
Oh, 100%. If you guys don't know, Jonathan Allen, just in 2016, he had 69 tackles, 16 tackles for a loss, 10.5 sacks, 2 fumbles returned for touchdowns. He measured in at the combine at 6'3", 286. He won the 2016 Chuck Bednarik and Bronco Nagurski Award as the nation's top defender on the nation's top defense.
I mean, that is a guy who's a baller. I mean,
that is a baller.
If you talk to people who've played football at any level, high school, college, or any semi-pro, but we don't really know that many people that played in the NFL.
Yeah.
But when you talk to people that play the game of football, there's one guy on the team that does a lot of the dirty work, that forces the QB out of the pocket, that takes the block on, but makes sure the block doesn't go anywhere so guys can come in and make sure the running back doesn't have space to run. That's Jonathan Allen.
Yeah.
This guy is a disruptive force that cannot be stopped.
And not only that, he does the little things that you look for, but on top of that, he also produced. It wasn't like he wasn't putting up stats. He was stuffing the stat sheets.
That is my qualification for an absolute
blue chipper
player.
And
that is a guy who does the dirty work but also puts up stats. And that just shows you in the toughest division in college football, in the SEC, this guy is cleaning up people.
And the knock on Jonathan Allen, I guess the reason that he fell, we're assuming we don't necessarily know, but it's the arthritis in his shoulders. I mean, he was medically cleared by every NFL team. I mean, mm-hmm. Dr. James Andrews is one of the best in the world. He's the Redskins team doctor. He checked him out. He said he's completely fine. I mean, it may be a problem 7-8 years down the line. That's fine. I'll take that all day.
I was hearing more than 7 or 8. I was hearing 10 to 15.
Really?
I was hearing after the second contract, look, that's fine. We need immediate help right now.
Right now.
And if we were able to solidify one position on a defensive line, I mean, the Redskins generally they're labeled as a 3-4.
They're 3-4, yeah.
But they run their nickel, which is a 4-3 hybrid. It's
kind of a hybrid defense.
Exactly, and that's why we drafted Sua.
Especially... Yeah, well, I mean, Greg Minuski's defenses, they're known for being hybrids with his time with the Colts. And
this is a guy who fits
49ers.
Perfectly. He's going to be able to be in pass situations. We're not asking him to be a nose in 3-4, which is a huge issue for me. I think that we haven't solidified the nose tackle yet. But I'm not worried about it because of Jonathan Allen and how much he's going to be keyed in on. And to give Tom Sula, who is highly respected as a defensive line coach, I understand he's a bad head coach, but he's highly respected around the league for a defensive line, and you give him a guy like Jonathan Allen, wow, let's watch this happen.
Watch out. Watch what Jonathan Allen can do. And the knock on Alabama guys is always it's not so much that they're really bust. I mean, besides like Trent Richardson, but like it's that they've already, when they were at Alabama, they got literally the best coaching that they could possibly get. I mean, people consider Alabama like a minor league NFL team. Like
absolutely.
Some people think that they could beat the Browns and some of these other teams.
Yeah.
So his coaching, a lot of these Alabama guys, their coaching, their technique is already like as high as it's going to get. You're not going to teach them anything that they haven't seen, but. So a lot of guys, they kind of like ceilinged out, like that they already reached the highest that they can reach. But this guy is a complete freak. Jonathan Allen is. He didn't test the best at the combine, but the way that he plays, and I mean, you see it all the time. I mean, guys like Julio Jones, C.J. Mosley, like these guys, Landon Collins, who went to Alabama, and they produce because they're just naturally good football players. That's what Jonathan Allen is.
I thought it was a perfect mixture because how many teams are there in the NFL? 32?
32.
We were picked, 17?
Yep.
So half of the league pissed off John Allen.
Yes.
And I understand it's a team sport, but to have that extra chip on your shoulder to say,
especially at such an important position that we need a defensive line, like with the offenses in the NFC East.
Yeah.
And on top of that, Jonathan Allen grew up a Redskins fan. He grew up in Virginia,
in Ashburn.
As soon as he boarded Redskins 1, or whatever it's called, Dan Snyder's aircraft, he said, "I can't wait to play Dallas, man. I can't wait to play Dallas." They asked him who his favorite player was. He said Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis called him 5 minutes later, and he was on the phone with him. Like, "Hey, man, I appreciate you. I loved your costumes, man.
I love your costumes, man.
I love it." Jonathan Allen is going to be a beast. We also got another Alabama pick, round number 2, number 49 overall, picked Ryan Anderson. Some people at first thought it was kind of a reach. We said from the get-go, outside linebacker, pass rusher, that's somebody that we need. This guy is a football player. He's not necessarily going to have the best. He's, in his own words, he is not a workout warrior. However, he is the ultimate football player. That's what he calls himself, and that's so true.
So when I just talked about Jonathan Allen doing the dirty work and doing the plays that don't get you to the stats and everything, Williams, the guy we did not draft, we took
Tim Williams.
We took Anderson over top of him. That is the guy that does the dirty work. This is a guy who doesn't care. He is very smart in his matchup. So it's a chess match when you're as a rusher. So what you're doing is you're baiting a tackle. Yeah. So when you're running up as a rusher, you will fake an inside move just to get him to go inside a little bit so you can use that swim move to the outside, use your speed around him. Well, that is what Anderson is perfect at. This guy does work on tackles. And even that, he can even play inside linebacker. This is a sure tackler.
Exactly.
He's a smart football player. He understands a chess match. And he's not scared to take on blocks.
He's not great at anything except for high motor, but he's very good at everything. He's not like just like a natural pass rusher that you're going to see go in the first round, but he's somebody who just does it all. And that's another thing. Ryan Anderson, he was a fifth-year senior at Alabama. Fabian Moreau, who we took in the third round, he was a first-round talent. Fabian Moreau was. I mean, if he didn't tore a pec tendon on his pro day, he could have been a late first-round pick, early second-round pick. And I mean, we got him in the third round. This guy's big. He's a freak. He ran a 4.35 with a 38-inch vertical. He's 6 foot, 206. He's only been playing. He was a fifth-year senior as well. He's only been playing cornerback for 4 or 5 years. He came to UCLA as a running back, so he has no bad habits. He was never taught anything bad from high school coaches that he carried on. He was taught by the best, not NFL, but the best teachers. So he has no bad habits. He has nothing to work on like that.
Moreau was a running back. So this is a guy that is not scared of physical. He loves it.
Very physical.
And I love him because he's so patient and so smart. So when you watch his film, you'll see when he does not make a move. He does not move his feet until the wide receiver is crossing the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
And I understand a lot of people are going to say, well, that's going to get you beat. Well, no. What it tells you is to not over-pursue something, to not grab at him, to not make sure that you're one step behind him. So you're basically staying in front of him the whole time. He is very good at knowing where he is on the field. He loves using the sideline, which is cornerback's biggest friend.
Yeah.
Is using the sideline, pushing the wide receiver out, making sure that the throwing window is very, very small.
He's another person. I saw him on NFL Network. He was being put to the test by a bunch of these guys, put through the ringer, and they asked him how he would match up against 3 different types of receivers. The first one, they said Julian Edelman in the slot. What are you going to do to him? He said, I'm going to get right up on him. I'm going to put my hands on him. I'm not going to let him, get shifty. I know what he's going to try to do. The next guy they said Antonio Brown. What are you going to do against him? He said, I know he's going to try to put me in the washing machine and put me through the ringer and get me all spun around. I'm not going to bite on his fakes. I'm going to keep my hips square to him, and I'm going to know what I'm doing. The next guy they said was Julio Jones. They said, what do you do against Julio? He says, well, what can you do against Julio? However, I'm going to do what he doesn't want me to do. I'm going to try to get physical right up there with him. I mean, he knows that he's a freak, and I'm just going to try to get in his head and do whatever I can. And that's the kind of guy you want. He knows what he's doing. Notice how we drafted football players, fifth-year seniors, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Who does that sound like? Who else would have taken those people?
Sounds a lot like Scott McCloughan.
Scott McCloughan, exactly. You know that they use their board, and I love that, especially for the next pick in round 4, Samaje Perine.
Yes.
Running back from Oklahoma.
That is a thumper. This guy will come up and hit you. He'd rather run through you than around you. That was an actual quote from him.
5'11", 233. He only ran a 4.6, 540, but he led all running backs 30 times. He benched 225.
My goodness.
Wow.
This is a guy who could do it. He was asked to do everything. He was asked to do wheel routes. He has great catching
people
ability.
think of him as just as a runner. No, he can catch.
He can do toss plays. He can do stretch plays. He can do power plays. Everything you need him to. Jay Gruden, this was Jay Gruden's guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you look back, even as a freshman in 2014, he set the NCAA record with 427 rushing yards in a single game versus Kansas.
Depending on how good his camp is, this is a guy that could possibly be starting for the Washington Redskins week 1. You imagine Perine and Thompson. Imagine that.
Oh, yeah.
You're expecting a
perfect
thumper.
thunder and lightning.
You're expecting a thumper every down, and then all of a sudden you bring in Chris Thompson, and this is a guy who can catch the ball in the backfield, but also a guy that can run around you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to completely confuse defenses, not including Jordan Reed and Terrell Pryor. This is going to be a very good offense, I feel.
This is going to be a very fun offense to watch. One of the picks that I do think was a bit of a reach was in round 4. The very next pick, we picked Monte Nicholson, the safety from Michigan State. He's 6'2", 212. He ran a 4.4, 240, 35-inch vertical. However, he never really put up any numbers. Granted, I mean, Michigan State was not very good last year.
His film, no, it's not Michigan State. This guy's film is horrible. If you ask him at all to cover any wide receiver outside the numbers, he gets lost. And one of his problems was, I saw in film, that he didn't keep his eyes in the backfield. So what he did is he would always bite on what the wide receiver was doing instead of looking in the backfield, noticing that the quarterback, because they'll always tell you, when a quarterback pumps the football, when he slaps the football, it means he's about to throw the ball. That is something a veteran knows. This is a guy who wouldn't even look at the quarterback, was staring at the wide receiver, biting on the double in, and then was getting torched.
Wow.
You ask him to pursue anybody, he's not. He takes bad angles.
Yeah.
But this is a guy who's purely in the box, and I thought this was 100% a special teams pick.
It should be, because he's somebody he plays with. I mean, he obviously has a fantastic athleticism. I mean, he does play with a certain aggression that you need on special teams.
Yes, he's a physical specimen. I'll tell you that all day. But I cannot allow him I say but I just do not want him in our back end at all until he's actually taught how to be able to use the safety position, because he was a liability back there. I'll tell you that.
Oh, yeah. From everything I've been reading on him, that makes perfect sense. And the next pick, round 5, pick 154, we picked Jeremy Sprinkle, the tight end out of Arkansas. Did you hear how he got in trouble, what his thing was?
Yeah, he shoplifted after they gave him, $200 credit?
So, yeah, he was in a bowl game. Let's say it was the Home Depot Bowl. I don't know what bowl game Arkansas played in, but the company that sponsors a bowl game, like let's say it's Home Depot, they give you a $450 gift card to Home Depot. So he went, and he knowingly put way more than $450 on it and just, dipped and was like, all right, tight. So he knew about it. I mean, that's something that he's taking care of. It's just it's funny to me that that's what happened. And usually McCloughan would like to stay away from those kind of guys with red flags. However, it's taken care of. He's paid what he's supposed to pay. I mean, he says it won't happen again. He's 6'5", 252. I mean, he ran a 4.6, 940. He's somebody who doesn't need to come off the field. He can be on there on all 3 downs.
You can't say a guy has a red flag when he did something dumb. That's legit dumb. Look at Jameis Winston. He did something dumb. Did he do it again? No.
Well, it's alleged what Jameis even did.
Yeah, exactly. So, but Sprinkle is so dynamic. I think he was a great pick, because with Jordan Reed and his health issues, with how old Vernon Davis is, and Niles Paul, he has his own injury concerns, which I do love Niles.
So
Niles is a great receiver. But Sprinkle brings a great blocker. He chipped Myles Garrett all the time in that Texas A&M game to help out their left tackle. We're not going to need it, But the thing is, this guy is a known tackler. He's good on pass pro and run blocking.
Right.
But this is a guy who can also go and catch passes. He's also very familiar with the Redskins' #1 verbatim perfect play-action play, and that is this sweep. So what they do is they run a fake stretch play, which means all the linemen and everyone is running to the left. They'll do a fake play action, and then the running back will rub out into the flat the opposite way. And how many times have you seen us run that?
all the time.
And Sprinkle ran that at Arkansas.
Yeah.
This is a guy who's familiar with it. I think he's a perfect fit.
He's a developmental guy. I know right now Vernon Davis is the number 2. He's not going to be around too long.
Purely based off run blocking, I think he's a perfect fit.
I think that he is going to make the team, especially as a third tight end, especially when you look at Niles Paul kind of being using more the H-back role as like a fullback / whatever. What is that? Who's that? Who just got hurt?
Mason Crosby.
Crosby? Oh, he's a bitch. He's just pretending. All right. So after that, we had the Redskins. A lot of analysts felt that we had a steal when we traded up. At the pick number 199 in the round 6, Chase Roulier from Wyoming. First of all, his combine picture, he looks like he smokes mad weed. 420. These are the notes I've written. Combine picture looks like he smokes mad weed, all caps. 420, blaze that shit. But he's a guy, he started at both left guard and center since he was a freshman. His body is built to anchor. He's technically sound. He plays after the whistle. His one knock is he has very short arms.
That's fine. But so he came in as a guard.
Yep.
But he was asked to move to center.
And he did it seamlessly.
When he moved to center, he made the all-pro, not the all-pro, but the all-conference team.
Yes,
so starting at a new position and being able to do that. And as a center, you only need long arms as offensive lineman when you're on the edge. If you're Trent or Morgan, you make sure guys can't get around you. When you're center, it doesn't really matter.
That was also the knock on Brandon Sheriff, and that's why he moved inside to guard.
Which was perfect. But I think this guy, I think he's a perfect center, and I would love to see Spencer Long move out to left guard. Next to Trent.
If you can do that, that'll knock out 2
Trent will make him look really good.
Definitely. And, Chase Roulier, he's played with a good quarterback. He plays with Josh Allen. Josh Allen would have been a first-round pick this year had he come out. He's going to be a first-round pick next year. That kid's special. Granted, they didn't go against the best competition at Wyoming, but next pick, round 6, pick 209, we selected Robert Davis, the wide receiver from Georgia State.
Whose cousin is Thomas Davis
from the Panthers. There you go. This guy is a physical freak. He's 6'3", 219. Listen to his numbers at the combine. He ran a 4.44 40. He had 19 reps of 225 as a wide receiver.
Wow.
And a 41-inch vertical jump.
Let that be in perspective. We're saying wow about that.
Yeah.
Samaje Perine put up 30.
Yeah, but this guy is a wide receiver at 219. Yeah, that's crazy. Samaje Perine.
Oh my goodness.
Perine is. I've been watching videos of Perine lately. Like he was on Steve Mariucci's whatever the hell he does on NFL Network or ESPN, whatever it is, and just looking at Samaje Perine, like he's a country boy. He always wears a camo hat. But his muscles are just bulging through his shirt.
The one thing that scares me about Perine is the way he runs. Right, he played in the Big 12. Everyone knows that the Big 12 has horrible defenses. Yeah, they don't care about defense. And so you're able to run the ball all day. But when you come to the pros and you have that physicality standpoint where all you're doing is running through tackles, in the NFL you're going against some of the best athletes, biggest, strongest, and smartest. And you're going to get injured. And that's the one aspect of him I'm really concerned about.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. The one thing is he's a bodybuilder. He really is. He's somebody who cares about his body, so it'll be very interesting to see, how he holds up.
That's the only question mark I have about him. Besides that,
I love him.
I would love for his running style to just be a little bit different. Just being a veteran running back, knowing when to take hits,
right, and
knowing when to run through.
That's something that can come with time, too. You can see the patience. All that stuff generally comes with time. Unless you're Ezekiel Elliott or Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
Round 7, pick 230, we picked Josh Harvey Clemens, who was a number 1 recruit. He was a number 1 outside linebacker recruit coming into college. He committed to Georgia.
We actually labeled him as a linebacker.
Yes, okay, so he's going to play linebacker. Yes. He committed to Georgia. He had right out of high school, he had 2 suspensions for failed marijuana tests. That led to his dismissal. He joined Louisville. Last year, he was second-team all-conference pick despite missing 2 games to injury. He's rangy, long frame, rare athleticism for his size, communicates well in the field. He has very skinny legs. I have written down here, don't skip leg day, bro. And Deshaun Watson picked on him. Right. Deshaun Watson picked on him in coverage, but he does have alpha mentality and undeniable intent as a tackler. So he's so many special teams and a linebacker. If we listed him in linebacker, that's what we did. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, for a 7th round pick, you're not. How can you criticize a 7th round pick?
You're taking projects.
Yeah. Generally, the guys in the 5 to 7 are special teams picks, and guys are going to be out of the league in 3 years. It's
Right.
It's bad to say, but you're living your dream, but you're given the option. But I mean, how many of these guys are 5 through 7? I understand there's a bunch of them.
It's not every day you get a Rob Kelly, somebody to make the team
Alfred
like
Morris,
that. Right?
Yeah. So it's really difficult to get productivity out of that group. But I think that was also another special teams acquisition. And also, we did not address the slot corner position. I know you said something about Moreau. Moreau is actually an outside guy.
No, he is 100%. Yeah, he's outside.
He's great at press, which I would love to see at the slot. I would love to.
Yeah.
But the reason I honestly think that we drafted him was to replace Breland.
It is.
Because Breland's gone.
We know that. Yeah, Breland's so fed up with this franchise, I feel like, because the fans... And Breland just got to get over that. He wanted to take on more responsibility with the Josh Norman signing, and he just got abused at times. So I mean, just get over it. Real quick before we move on to the other sports, I know we got a lot of stuff to cover. We talked about some of the stuff that me and you, I mean, we got right. I mean, we called Fournette going forward to Jacksonville. McCaffrey, I said from the beginning, 8 to Carolina. We both prayed Jonathan Allen will fall to the Skins. I personally said last week Evan Ingram could be a possible first-rounder. He went to the New York Giants. And then me and you both talked about the teams that could trade up for quarterbacks. We both said the Texans and the Chiefs, and what did they do?
Well, I said the Chiefs and Arizona.
Right. I brought in the Texans.
Who did Arizona
Arizona did not take a quarterback.
They didn't?
No, they didn't.
Oh, okay.
Giants got Davis Webb, which is something that you can look out for because he's got real good pro potential.
I just thought that was weird because next year the quarterback
class is supposed to be so good,
really strong, and so for you to go out and say you're getting Eli's backup right now and not a very deep draft, it's kind of weird.
Especially,
to me.
I mean, but they have built around Eli so much. I mean, let's see, who did you have winning the draft? Who did you have? Which team besides the Redskins?
I had San Fran winning that draft.
Okay,
I mean, I said it. My dream pick was Solomon Thomas, just because he was linked to us way before. Actually, no, he wasn't my dream pick. I said that he was linked to us way before in the draft.
Right,
his stock rose. And that was him. And then they came back and traded back in and got Reuben Foster.
Right, that's huge. I had two teams. I had 49ers and the Browns. The Browns. Look at what the Browns did.
Did you know that Jay Gruden did not deny the fact that they asked him, they said, did you guys try to trade back in the first round for Reuben Foster? He didn't deny it.
He didn't deny it?
No.
Well, I mean, that would be huge. I would imagine if that would have happened. Listen to what the Browns did. The Browns, they had 3 first-round picks. They ended up trading back. They got so much. They ended up winning this draft not only because of the players that they got, but what they did for next year. All right, let's take a look at some of their players. First, number 1 overall pick, Myles Garrett. After that, they got Jabril Peppers. And then their other first-rounder, David Njoku, who was the number 2 tight end, but he went as the number 3 tight end. Round 2, they got Deshaun Kaiser. Round 3, they got Larry Ogunjobi. Then later, picks that stick out, they got cornerback Howard Wilson, offensive tackle Roderick Johnson, defensive tackle Caleb Brantley. And the Browns also netted an extra first-rounder again next year, meaning that Cleveland owns 5 picks in the first 2 rounds next year again. They are set up. And if any team is going to fuck that up,
it's the Browns.
It's the Browns.
I mean, how many 2 first-round picks have they had, and they've always screwed up?
Exactly.
But I thought that Deshaun Kaiser, I just don't think
I don't
that's
get
a good
that.
pick.
No, neither do I.
I don't.
Especially with next year. I mean, I guess maybe they were just going by best player available. They felt that, but still.
It's the Dak Prescott reach.
Right.
That's exactly what it is.
You're trying to find the next Dak.
Yeah, just hoping to find that, which I think is ridiculous.
Right. The worst draft, according to me, was the Bears trading up 1 spot to get Mitch Trubisky. And then not only that, 3 of their next 4 picks, the final 4 picks, 3 of the final 4 picks went to non-FBS schools. Round 2, they picked tight end Adam Sheehan from Ashland. Round 4, Tariq Cohen from North Carolina, AT&T. And then guard Jordan Morgan from Kutztown. And round 4, they did pick Eddie Jackson from Alabama. But they picked...
So everyone keeps criticizing them moving up 1 pick. But what people don't understand is they didn't do that by themselves. So what's happening is San Fran, the entire season...
San Fran played it perfectly.
John Lynch is basically saying, we're shipping out that second. We're shipping out the second. We don't want the second. And so then, all of a sudden, we get to the draft, and everyone's going, oh, why did Chicago move up? Well, it's because Chicago at 3 wanted Mitch Trubisky,
right?
But was hearing echoes that Chicago was about to trade with. It was not disclosed. Nobody knows who it was.
San Fran was going to trade it to somebody.
No, not San Fran. Well, yeah, they were going to trade it for somebody, but they didn't say who it was. But there was other teams that are very interested in number 2, and so what that made it happen is the Bears really wanted Trubisky at 3,
right?
But they said we cannot allow somebody to come up and jump up in front of us, and so that's why they gave up a lot of extra. It keeps being labeled as they moved up one spot and gave up so much, but yet there's so many.
No, I mean, you do have to. I mean, I do get that. The only thing is, it's like the Bears just trading up for that one spot for a quarterback who started 13 games, and on top of that, they just signed Mike Glennon to starter money.
But still, I understand.
I know it's a quarterback-driven league.
I understand,
right.
But let's just say, is your team better off without a future reassurance with Mike Glennon, or is your team better off with Mike Glennon with a future reassurance?
That's true. And plus, I mean, you can see what you got in Mike Glennon, exactly. And then you can sit Trubisky and let him.
We know
learn
who
a
Mike
bit.
Glennon is. He's an average quarterback who's going to turn the ball over a lot.
Well, the one year that he started before Jameis, he didn't do terrible. I mean, he didn't do great, but I mean, if he could have kept going and progressing, he could have been something. So I mean, yeah, you're definitely right.
He hasn't started in 2 years.
Exactly.
I mean, he came out and said that he thought he was cheated by the Bears.
Yeah.
I mean, dude. Did you really think that they were going to mortgage their franchise on you?
Yeah.
Come on, man.
First of all, you look like Napoleon Dynamite.
It's true.
Second of all, Google his picture.
His brother played for Virginia Tech, and he was the worst quarterback Virginia Tech's ever had. His parents would stop coming to games because they would get stuff thrown at them.
Imagine that. Imagine your parents stopping watching you just because you suck. Like, my parents would never admit that I sucked at a sport, and they're just like, dude, you're fucking terrible. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Wizards. We haven't talked Wiz yet. Wizards. We closed out the Hawks. We came out on a hot start against the Celtics in Boston. We were up 16-0 at one point. We went up 20-3, and then what happened? The Celtics shot like it was NBA 2K.
The biggest concern for the Wizards is that third quarter. They were outscored by 20.
Dude. Yes.
They scored 36 points to the Wizards' 16 points in one quarter.
Wow. That is ridiculous.
The Celtics also broke a record for 19 threes in one game.
The Celtics were 19 of 39, which is 48.7% from deep. The Wizards were 10 of 23. You do not. I understand that
that's not going to happen every game,
right? And I understand that Bradley Beal is a very good 3-point shooter, and that Otto Porter finished 4th in the NBA in 3-point percentage this year. But the Celtics have been so good at that all year. You do not want to get into a 3-point shootout with this team. Another thing that was huge was the free throws. The Wizards actually attempted 7 more free throws than the Celtics. However, the Wizards were 13 of 22, which is only 59%. The Celtics were 12 of 15, which is about 80%. So that was huge. I mean, the Wizards just weren't converting. They were getting to the line at a high rate, but they just weren't converting it, which was very weird. The rebounds were dead even. The Wizards had 38 to Boston's 38. It was literally dead even. The turnovers, the Wizards had 12. Boston had 11. However, John Wall had 8 of those turnovers, and he was 9 of 20 from the field, 1 of 5 from deep. He had 20 points, 16 assists, 4 rebounds. Bradley Beal had 27 points, 4 assists, 1 rebound. He was 9 of 19. He was 4 of 7 from deep. He had 3 turnovers. Let's see, Otto Porter had 16 points. He was 7 of 10. He was 1 of 3 from deep with 11 rebounds and 2 steals. Gortat had 16 points, 13 rebounds. For the Celtics, man, Isaiah Thomas, of course, he went off. Isaiah Thomas actually lost a tooth in the first quarter. He got elbowed in the face coming off of a screen. His tooth got knocked out, and he still put up 33 points, 9 assists. He was 6 of 7 from the charity stripe. 5 of 11 from deep. Jay Crowder went off. He had 24 points. He was 6 of 8 from 3-point, which is 75%. Al Horford was 1 of 3 from beyond the arc. Let's see, Avery Bradley was 3 for 9 from beyond the arc. Marcus Smart hit a 3. Kelly Olynyk was 2 of 2 from 3-point line. Like, they just made so many 3-pointers.
That's not going to happen every time.
It shouldn't. No, exactly. It really shouldn't. I mean, that was Game 2's tomorrow night in Boston.
We knew coming in that the Wizards' defense was an issue.
Right.
And the biggest concern I have is this is the third quarter. After you go into halftime, you come out with a new plan, and they gave up 36 points to 16. Yeah. I mean, we came out in the second half, and we really solidified ourselves beginning up to the second half.
Yeah.
And then for us to come out and completely lay an egg, I mean, come on, guys, just give us something. I understand Markieff Morris got out, and it's a bad injury, but
he's playing in Game 2. He said, which is good.
But Scott Brooks even said he's not even going to say that he's going to play,
right?
Just because of how bad it was. But the guy's a warrior, and but I just don't want him to be a liability being injured.
Yeah.
But we do need him.
Yeah. I mean, you saw at one point the Celtics lineup, like for that third quarter when they went off, it was Isaiah Thomas, Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder, and Al Horford. That was their four. So they had basically three guards out there, undersized guards too, the undersized shooting guards who play point guard, one small forward, and a center. And Al Horford, who shunned the Wizards this offseason, could have signed with Washington. That was somebody who we really went after pretty hard.
Yeah.
And look at what he's doing over there in Boston. Which, by the way, I think Boston's kind of overrated. I mean, they do play good defense, and they're very good from three. But if you look at it, I don't think that they're better than the Cavs. I don't even think that they're better than the Wizards. Only, 2-3 games separated all of us?
Yeah.
At the end of the season?
Game, they are almost actually picture perfect except for the points allowed and points against.
Okay.
I believe the Celtics are 9 points difference, we've talked about the Wizards are only like half a point or something like that.
Right.
So they are a very good defensive team. They're giving us fits. It's just when they get on a roll like that, it's hard to beat a team. And for you to be making everything, it's so funny, which is just like the Caps, where if they make everything and you're not making anything, you're not going to win.
What is the score of the Capitals game right now?
It's 0-0.
Still 0-0?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. All right. I know we talked about the draft for a little while. I know we have plenty of time to keep talking about stuff. We will get into more Wizards. Wizards, I feel like, is mainly going to be a thing that we're going to talk about a lot more next week because this week, I mean, we're still kind of new to this series. We got a lot to talk about with the Nationals. Oh, my God.
I know.
The Nats. And we can get back into the Wizards. Obviously, we'll get into the Caps. They're going live right now. But the Nationals, man. Oh, my God. That 23-5 win yesterday over the Mets. Whew. Anthony Rendon went 6 for 6 with a double, 3 home runs, 5 runs scored in a franchise record, 10 RBIs, and he was about 3 feet short of a 4th home run, which would have been a grand slam, which would have put him at the MLB record, 12 RBIs.
Yeah.
Which would have, that was, listen to some of these records that Anthony Rendon broke.
Let me listen.
Anthony Rendon was the 13th player in MLB history with at least 10 RBIs in a game. His 10 RBIs were the most by a player in a MLB game since Garrett Anderson with the Angels did so on August 21st, 2007 versus the Yankees. Rendon was just 2 RBIs short of tying the MLB record of 12 shared by St. Louis outfielder Mark Whiten in 1993 and St. Louis Hall of Fame first baseman Jim Bottomley in 1924.
Wow.
Only one other player drove in at least 10 runs in a perfect day at the plate, meaning that every plate appearance resulted in a hit, and that was Jim Bottomley, who went 6 for 6 with 2 home runs and an MLB record 12 RBIs.
Which Rendon went for 3 home runs.
Right, exactly. Rendon is one of 2 players in MLB history to record at least 6 hits, 3 taters, which is home runs, 10 RBIs, and 5 runs scored in a game. He is joined by Cincinnati catcher Walker Cooper, who did so in 1949 at Chicago, who was 6 of 7 with 3 home runs, 10 RBIs, and 5 runs.
The funny thing about that is people are going to look at it like, oh, it's boring, it's all stats. But you don't understand, those are all records.
Those are all records. The Nationals, they were just on a tear offensively. Let's see, driving in, another player who broke some, driving in 2 more runs on Sunday. Ryan Zimmerman collected 29 RBIs in April, the most RBIs in a single calendar month for any player in franchise history, which goes back to the Expos days. Wow. Zimmerman's 11 home runs sets the franchise record for home runs in the opening month. He also tied his own career best for home runs in a single month, which he had 11 in September of 2013. Nats also become the first team in MLB history to score 14 or more runs in a game 5 times in April.
Wow. We haven't even talked about Bryce Harper and Daniel Murphy.
Exactly, and they're gonna. Bryce is playing amazing. Bryce set an MLB record.
As bad as the bullpen is, that's how good the offense is.
Right, exactly. Like our bullpen is such a weakness, but if you're playing like this, like it doesn't matter.
I'd love to see that Trey Turner came back from his injury and is already hitting 300.
Yeah. Trey Turner is amazing right now, and I love that. Trey Turner's a major key, especially with Adam Eaton being out now.
These guys, look, they can have their drop offs. Nobody's expecting these guys to hit 400, 300.
Right.
But keep this consistency. We need that offense because we know how bad that bullpen is. We need that offense.
Zimmerman. The thing about Zimmerman is, like, let's just be real. I don't want to jinx it, so I'm going to knock on some wood real quick. There's no wood. I'm knocking on plastic. Hold on, that's a drywall. That'll count. That Zimmerman gets hurt a lot, and he's somebody when he gets hurt because he's a little bit older. But it's regardless. He's not going to keep this up anyway. But right now he's first in the MLB with a 420. Oh, that's tight. 420 batting average. Harper's third with 391. It's incredible. And Zimmerman's tied for first in the MLB with 11 home runs. Harper's fifth with 9.
With 9.
Yes.
And we were just talking about how on a tear Bryce was.
Yeah.
Look at Ryan Zimmerman coming up and balling
exactly.
out, dude.
Ryan Zimmerman is playing out of his mind.
If you can beat an MLB team by 2 touchdowns,
yeah.
I mean, how good of a day is that?
And listen, MLB standings for RBIs, Zimmerman's first with 29. You know who's second and third? Or who tied for second? Harper and Murphy with 26.
Yeah.
In the entire MLB.
Yeah. I mean,
wow.
It just shows how good this Nats team is playing right now.
It's just incredible. I mean, the last 3 games, they've averaged 10.3 runs per game.
That's ridiculous.
That is crazy.
That is actually after when Dusty Baker was not granted, but he was a Native American tribe in Denver blessed him.
Please.
Blessed him and the team in Denver. They said, I guess they blessed him when he was in Colorado.
Probably on mad peyote.
But they've been on a tear ever since. Please,
Native American spirits, like, come on. Like, with all the bad stuff going on in America, you would think that America was, like, built on, like, some ancient Indian burial grounds.
Caps just scored on the 5-on-3.
Caps just scored. There we go. That is what they needed. 1-0 Capitals. Let's get into a little bit of the Capitals. You know, I mean, they're playing right now. Right now, they're down 0-2 versus the Penguins. They lost the last game 6-2. This game is huge. Game 3.
It's monumental. I mean, I've said that so many times, but this really is. I mean, down 2-0 right now,
yeah.
You have to go into Pittsburgh on the first day, because if you go down 3-0 and have the 4th game in Pitt.
Right. I mean, history is not on their side. I mean, we went on Facebook Live earlier and we talked about this. I don't know if you guys listen. I'll just say it just for those of you who didn't watch the Facebook Live one. All right, when leading a best-of-7 series 2-0, the Penguins have a series record of 15-2 with an active 9-series winning streak and a Game 3 record of 12-5.
Yeah.
When trailing a best-of-7 series 0-2, the Capitals have a series record of 1-5 and a Game 3 record of 1-5. The Soul Caps' victory in both Game 3 and the series occurred in 2009 against the New York Rangers in the preliminary round, so history is not on their side. They need this game in Pittsburgh.
It never is for any DC sports.
It's not. No,
it never
it's
is.
really not.
It's so bad, but we need to see them come out and ball out. Like I've said it so many times, just Holtby, just give me one shutout. Just give me one shutout.
And it's so crazy too, because as good as Holtby is, and as he has been, Braden Holtby's been amazing this season. He has not been playing well.
He was in the running for MVP of the team,
right?
Even though they had the best team in the NHL the regular season, he was possibly MVP.
Yeah, I mean, he needs to have a big game tonight.
And for him to give up in the last game 3 goals on 14 shots.
Yeah, that's so uncharacteristic.
You're getting put in a bad position. You know, I can't blame you. You're a professional. I'm not going to sit here and tell you you're bad at your job.
Yeah.
But you need to do better than that.
Right. This is, sorry, we're watching the game live right now, for those of you who don't know.
So, crazy stat. Only 18 teams out of 87 teams in the playoffs that have been down 0-2 have come back to win. 18 of 87.
Wow.
History is not on our side.
History is not on our side.
But, hey, we've said it. We said it. We feel something different about this team.
We do.
We could possibly be wrong. This could be just another Washington team that goes down in the dust. I get it. But is this the team that could possibly come back from 0-2?
If any team has enough talent to come back from 0-2,
you're absolutely
right. This team. That is 100% true.
I mean, they just have to click that. You know, they have to get that rolling going, and where they're just playing together and everything is falling for them. They need that.
They do, and I mean, stuff hasn't been falling for them. They actually lead the series in shots, in attempts.
Well, last game they led them 36-21.
Right, they lead on the series. I mean, I know it's only been 2 games now. What, 2.5 game, 2 and a third. I mean, they lead by a wide margin.
Yeah, and
shots
Marc-Andre Fleury has blocked 67 of 71 shots.
God damn.
Yeah.
That's just unhuman. That's not.
But the thing is, we said the same thing about Anderson last series. I mean, why are these goalies having baller performances against us, and we have nothing to show for it?
Right. I mean, what is it that we are doing that is not working? Like we're just, I don't know. Did we just score again? No. Oh, okay. Damn it. I mean, we're taking these shots, and we're like leading so much in shots, but they're not going in. They're not falling. I don't know whether we're just. Matt Niskanen, I'm sorry. Matt Niskanen came in. I'm reading this right off of my notes, so I'm like a Ron Burgundy. Put it on there. I'm going to read it how it's spelled. He came out. He said his tips for this game: shoot quicker, shoot for tips, shoot off the side of the net, whatever it takes, and that's what they need to do.
Yeah, just shoot, dude. Obviously, use good scoring chances, but dude, just throw it into the net. Just get a rebound. You need that one rebound.
Right. Get it in the goddamn net.
That's
Capitals. consistently more than the other team.
Yeah.
Please.
And please stop more than 3 goals on 14 shots. I mean, my goodness.
I mean, come on, Holtby.
That's just not like Holtby, though. And so I guess you can attest that to the bad defense that we were showing, giving up bad turnovers in our defensive zone and giving up 2-on-1s. I get it. But Holtby, if you are who I think you are, you make those stops.
Right. I mean, he has to. He was literally one of, if not the best goalies in the NHL this season during the regular season. I mean, he just was. And this is what we're saying. It's so uncharacteristic, but it's so also at the same time, it's so typical of the Capitals in the playoffs.
It's not awesome, but I agree with you. It's just it's DC sports in the playoffs. We get up to really high leads, and then we just let everything go.
It's not fair, man. I hate this. I really do.
It's all right. I've gotten to the point where what is being disappointed going to do to you? I'm just going to enjoy the ride. Let's just enjoy these playoffs because I've seen the bad. I've seen us not be in the playoffs, be the embarrassment of the league. And the fact that we're in the playoffs and competing, I'll enjoy that. I will not criticize you for how you act in the playoffs because you got there. You are better than half of the league's teams in the league. So you know what? I will respect you for that. Just please do your best to do well for this team.
Yeah, but we say that. But I know that you're trying to be such a glass half full guy right now. But dude, honestly, anything for me right now with this Capitals team, and we've talked about it before, anything less than at least advancing to the Stanley Cup Finals is just like
this is almost this
is our last chance.
This series is the finals for us.
It is.
It is. We're down 2.
Yeah, exactly. We have to look at it that way.
We have to just say, you know what? I'm tired of this. And they held a players-only meeting, which they sat down and said, this isn't Barry Trotz. This isn't what he's calling for us. We have to go out there, and we have to do it ourselves because they're doing something we're not, and they're not beating us. We're whooping their ass.
We're
beating them in the first.
We really are.
And we're just allowing bad defensive and turnovers to be able to beat us. And if we stop that, sky's the limit. And that is the type of mentality you need in the playoffs.
Yeah. I can't. From my angle right there, it looked like the Caps were on a fast break. I was like, "Oh, that's rare. What's going on right now?"
Yeah, it was just going to be blocked.
What's happening? Yeah, no. Oh, yeah. It's typical. It's so typical. Let's see. We're talking Capitals.
I wanted to ask you something.
What's up?
All right. So I hate going through and predicting wins and losses this early
for NFL.
Yes.
Okay.
But I would like to see. I like to do it after the draft.
Oh yeah, definitely. Give me 1 second. I can pull up the schedule right now for us.
So
I know you have it, but I just need it in front of me.
Before last season, I predicted that the Redskins were going to go 8-8. Obviously, I was wrong because of the tie.
We went 8-7-1. You were so close.
Yes, I was.
You were so close.
I don't know, man. This team is just starting to build, and Vegas has them at 7.5.
Right.
Winning these many games this season. I think that they are right about. I would say 8. I think 8-8 is perfect for them.
I know. I was listening to 106.7 on the way up here. By the way, fuck you, 106.7. You're not better than us. I was listening to them on the way up here, and Chad Dukes was talking about, do you think that the offense is better right now, or do you think that it's worse? And I mean, granted, people called in. Yeah, I know we lost 2,000-yard receivers, but the way that we are building, our defense should be better. And if somebody brought up a good point, if our defense last year could have just stopped even 2 more. Or just shaved off from that league-leading 6.5 yards per carry, whatever the hell it was that we allowed. If we could just shave off 2 yards for that, our offense was very good at controlling the clock. We weren't good in the red zone, but we were very, very good in time of possession and controlling the clock.
I would disagree. I would say we were very bad at controlling the clock because we could not run the ball.
No, we were very good at
okay. Well, I would say we were able to score points, no problem. That was
until
not an
we got in the red zone.
Exactly. But I thought that if we were able to run the ball consistently every game, and to be able to run the ball for 3 yards at a time. You think about that on third down to put you at 3rd and 1.
Yeah.
4th and 1. I mean, even if you're in their 50, you can still go for it. We were even able to do that because we couldn't run the ball consistently and do it well.
We couldn't, and that's where part of this Samaji Pirine pick could be huge because I mean, really, Fat Rob, he did very good. He did. I mean, he coming in. I mean, he had no expectations, but he also exceeded everything.
Well, now that you look back on it. before last season, coming out and saying that Matt Jones was our starting running back.
Right.
How bad
is that?
look?
Dude, well, he's already on the trade block. Nobody wants him.
Yeah.
Nobody wants him.
Nobody wants
him.
him.
And its fumbling is so just, that's so, you can't.
Ball security is job security.
You said it last week. That's Jay Gruden comes from Marvin Lewis. Yeah. That's what he knows. That's all that he knows. I was looking up something today. Kirk Cousins, over the last 2 seasons, of the players that qualify, that have started enough games, Kirk Cousins, hold on, let me read this. Since becoming the starter in 2015, Kirk Cousins is the 6th highest rated qualified passer in the NFL.
Wow.
6th in the NFL of all qualified passers. That's pretty damn good.
But let's not pay that guy top money, though.
No. Yeah, but also, I mean, Cleveland, it came out on draft day, Cleveland's trying to trade for Kirk Cousins
we've said this before. Everything that Ian Rappaport has come out with has been false.
Right.
Everything.
Right.
He's the one reporting the 49ers.
He did come out with that. That's right.
He said the 49ers before the draft. He said the Cowboys, when Tony Romo was questioning retirement,
was going to come to the Redskins. And
he's the one who's come out with all of this, and he's been wrong every single time.
He is always wrong. Jason LaCanfora came out today, and he said that of the Kirk Cousins to Cleveland report on draft day, that the Redskins personnel, they were laughing inside the Redskins war room, and I mean laughing, about the fact that the Browns were trying to acquire Kirk Cousins. We didn't even entertain it, which we shouldn't have. I mean, it depends on how you look at it. If we really think that we're going to be able to sign Kirk, then no, don't do that. But I don't know. Let's see. Here we go. Per Pro Football Focus, Jonathan Allen rushed against the left tackle / left guard in 74.7% of his attempts, collecting 83.6% of his quarterback pressures and 12 of his 13 sacks.
Wow.
So put him on that side and let him do his thing.
I really like Anderson. I think Anderson is a straight-up ball.
So do I. They kind of got on us a little bit for the Ryan Anderson pick. A lot of people said that he was a third-rounder, but he's such a high-motor guy.
That's one of those picks where special people see something.
Right.
And that's when you look at it in years prior and you're like, wow, we should have seen that, but we didn't. And that's the kind of Ryan Anderson feel I have about it.
Yeah.
Bold prediction. I think this, for the Redskins, is going to be a Hall of Fame draft class.
That is a lot to say.
I really do. I think that these two guys, Anderson and Allen, could possibly be here for a very long time and be the staple of a very good defense with Josh Norman right now. I mean, right now, in 2 years, it's not going to be Hall of Fame, but I'm thinking 10 years ahead.
You think so? You think? Well, see, but that's the thing. I remember thinking the same thing about the 2012 draft class.
Yeah, but we only had two baller standouts in that. That was RG3, which traded up for.
Right, but I mean, the Hall of Fame draft class is really, I mean, the only one that's the best draft class of all time was one of the Steelers classes in the 70s with 4 Hall of Famers, which is just, that's not going to happen again.
Right.
That's not. So if you get one Hall of Famer, you're lucky.
Right. No, I'm talking about for Redskins. I'm
okay, so you're just saying overall this is going to be one of our best draft classes of all time.
For the Redskins Hall of Fame.
Okay, all right. I was like, oh, wow.
No, yeah. So this is going to be this could possibly be one of the best draft classes we've ever been.
100%. I would agree with that.
Perrine, if he stays healthy with his running, how physical he is, if he can stay healthy, this is a guy who can bruise you.
He was a steal in the fourth.
This is a guy that in December, when it's cold, nobody wants to hit that
playoff football. He's wearing a team out.
I honestly feel that Tom Sula is on a stage right now to make a very, very good name for himself, to be able to be a defensive coordinator, and maybe not next year, but the year after. And if he's able to be able to pull around Stacey McGee, Terrell McClain, and do something with Allen, I mean, this is a guy who can make a really good name for himself right now.
I mean, Tom Sula, it's not. We've went over this before. It's not, a lot of people hear Tom Sula and they start saying all this bad stuff about him, but he was set up to fail in San Francisco.
Yeah,
he really was. I mean, he's a very well-respected defensive line coach. He's one of the better defensive line coaches in the NFL. That's why he got that job to be head coach.
Yeah.
Because he knows what he's doing.
He's well-respected. And did you see the pictures of him at the Combine?
Yeah.
Directing the linemen, and he's snorting out burgers.
He got trucked. I forgot who it was who trucked him. He got ran over. What is it? So I got the Redskins schedule in front of us right here. We start off against the Eagles.
What's your prediction? Give me something.
Let me take a look at this.
After the draft, let's just say the Redskins
here's
have one injury. Two injuries to one of the top 4
players.
Picks.
Okay.
So let's say that Perrine and let's say Anderson gets injured. Well, actually, no. Let's say
Don't say Allen.
Morale and Anderson. Let's say they don't do much for us in the first 2 months.
Okay, and with Moreau, I mean, that's completely realistic because
absolutely.
he's coming off of a
So give
pectoral
me your
injury.
prediction knowing that Allen and Perrine are going to be there for first 8
Let's
games.
see, the first thing that I notice when I look at this is I see we have 5 primetime games. We're hosting our
Which
first
is
ever
bad.
Thanksgiving game.
Which is
Yeah,
bad.
that's terrible for us because
we do horrible in primetime games.
We're terrible in primetime. But you look at it, of course, my rule, the thing that I always try to do with division games, I always try to split them. But, I mean, just because I always just feel like but like the Eagles, we've dominated the Eagles over the last few years, right? So we start off with Philly. They're an improved team. I mean, they are. They should be Carson Wentz in his second year. I mean, they've added some pretty damn good wide receivers over
You know
there.
how crazy Eagles fans are? Is they
Yeah.
try to come out and say that Barnett is better than Garrett. Their first round pick is better than Garrett.
See, that's Philly. Just shut up. Just
I couldn't
go away.
stand this whole weekend. I was getting so angry just watching
People
the
seriously
draft.
said that?
Yeah, and the watching the draft and to have every Eagles pick and then be like, ah!
You see the video? You know that one fat Philly fan that always makes Facebook posts. That's
Yeah,
like super.
yeah.
The dude who hates it. He was on there. He was talking about his picks. He was like, "All right, we're picking right now. What do we need?" He's like, "I want Joe Mixon." Or I want to need
First
naming
round?
all these. Yeah, exactly. That's why right off the break, you're like, this guy's an idiot.
Yeah.
They picked Derek Barnett, which, by the way, that was a very good pick by the Eagles. It really was. I mean, he's not better than Myles Garrett, but that was a solid pick. I mean, putting him on a line with Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham, that's good.
I just couldn't understand the whole hype show they were trying to give us with just being heavy in Philly.
The dude starts like throwing shit. He's like flipping out. He's like ripping his jersey off, and it's just like, dude, like stop.
Well, but that's just for Instagram hits.
Yeah, and I mean it works because he's fat, and everybody who's fat's funny. Look at me, mom.
Is that why I'm not funny?
That's why. Yeah, no, gain some weight, dude. You'll be fun. Trust me. I don't say anything funny. I just make faces sometimes, and people are like, "Oh man, it's funny because you can see his chins." So let's see. Eagles. I'm going to say week 1 we can beat the Eagles at the Rams. That's going to be a tough game, just because I think that they're going to be improved with McVay, but I do think we can beat the Rams.
McVay knows our offense to a T.
Exactly. But I'm going to say that we're going to win that just because it's the Rams and I'm a homer. Raiders lose to the Raiders. That's a primetime game. Chiefs lose to the Chiefs. That's a primetime game. 49ers beat. Well, that's 1 and 2, or that's 2 and 2.
Okay.
49ers beat the 49ers. So that's 3 and 2. I'm going to say we're going to beat the Eagles again. Sorry, Philly fans, but we've had your number lately. That's 4 and 2. Lose to the Cowboys. That's 4 and 3. Lose to the Seahawks. That's 4 and 4.
Yep.
Beat the Vikings. That's 5 and 4. Beat the Saints. That's 6 and 4. Lose to the Giants on Thanksgiving in primetime. What's that? 6 and 5.
Yep.
I'm going to say, but then the next Cowboys game is a primetime game. We're going to lose to the Cowboys, 6 and 6. I have us going 0-2 to the Cowboys. Damn it.
Looks like you're going right along with me.
Yep. Beat the Chargers. So that's 7 and 6. Lose to the Cardinals, 7 and 7. Beat the Broncos and then beat the Giants. So I'm going to say 9 and 7.
9 and 7. You are very optimistic, my friend.
I am very optimistic.
Well, we don't, obviously, we're taking into consideration injuries and everything, but this is right now. We know how ridiculous it is, but I just want to get a grasp on how, like, Redskins Nation feels about the schedule.
So, yeah, me and you are kind of rare in the sense that, like, we feel the same about stuff, and that's actually some feedback that I've gotten about our shows, that me and you agree too much on stuff, but it's because we're both realists about shit.
Yeah,
and we both,
you're
like,
absolutely right.
I mean, we're just
because,
all
like,
right.
if you just think that they're going to ball out every year, what's the fun of that?
That's
They're
why
gonna have issues.
the Redskins fans have such a bad name, too, is because every year we're like, oh, this is our year, man. Look at our off-season.
I hate hearing people say that.
Dude, but it's so true. I get so pissed off listening to some Redskins fans talk. I really do. I really do. I just, sometimes Redskins fans talk, and I'm just like, dude, like, stop. This is why we look bad.
Did you hear about the quarterback that San Francisco took in the 3rd round?
C.J. Beathard?
That we were matched with.
Yep. C.J. Beathard, he was a lot of... I don't understand why they took him. Josh Dobbs was still on the board, and so was Nathan Peterman. They were both considered better prospects. You know what's weird about Josh Dobbs? Josh Dobbs went to the Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Alopecious.
Yeah, went to the Steelers. The exact same pick that Dak Prescott went to the Cowboys last year. He was said, if there's a Dak Prescott in this class, it's Josh Dobbs, because he's a rocket scientist. He's super smart. He's got physical tools. And he kind of goes into a similar situation where it's like if Big Ben gets hurt, he's got a team around him. He can step up and play. That's interesting. That's kind of cool, I think, to look at.
Yeah, that's cool. But just because he's picked the same pick, that's ridiculous.
That's stupid.
I thought they screwed up by not getting Nathan Peterman. That is a Pitt college quarterback. You're not telling me that Steelers Nation would absolutely love Peterman there?
I mean, and what is it with Pittsburgh not taking Pittsburgh quarterbacks, too? I mean, look at what they did with Dan Marino.
Yeah.
They didn't take Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's
Dolphins
true.
got a steal.
I mean, they made a bad decision with that. But Josh Dobbs is good. I just don't see him as a franchise building guy. I could possibly be wrong.
No, neither do I. But then again, I mean, I don't. It's not every year you're going to get a Dak Prescott. Then again, though, I didn't see Dak Prescott as
the reason I say that is because Josh Dobbs went through the SEC, so you're going through the top competition.
Yeah.
And I understand that he didn't have the weapons that the Steelers do, or possibly are going to have years down the road. I'm just saying, based off the competition that he's gone against, it was not impressive enough to be able to build your franchise around it. I felt that it was just a Band-Aid. It's not an actual pick that's going to carry you for years and years.
And look, I mean, realistically, if anybody's expecting a mid-round pick to come in and be their franchise guy, you're out of your mind.
There's only a select number of quarterbacks who can do that. Russell Wilson, Kirk Cousins, Tom Brady. There's only a select amount of guys that have ever done it, and there's a reason because it's hard.
It doesn't happen every year, right? I mean, it just doesn't. And Dak Prescott too. He's a guy who I try so hard to hate just because he's a Dallas quarterback, but he's a good dude.
I'm in the minority in that because I liked Dak coming out of the draft.
See, I hated him coming out.
No, I loved him. I thought he was perfect. He was a smart guy. He came out of a SEC team, so he's gone against the top competition. Yeah. A guy who battled all year. I watched a lot of the college football games. I really liked he was accurate. He was smart. But as soon as the Cowboys picked him, I was like, oh, my goodness. Now I have to hate the guy.
Yeah.
And then he goes on to beat us for 2 straight games. And it's like, oh, my goodness. What am I supposed to do here?
Yeah, dude, Dallas. I do think that Dak will take a step back this year. I just think sophomore slump, the NFL knowing your game a little bit more. I think Ezekiel Elliott's going to be fine.
I also think that them losing secondary is going to
That's going to be huge. And by the way, Dallas, I will be honest, Dallas they also had a good draft. I mean, I
thought it was ridiculous that they did not take T.J. Watt. They took Taco.
So do I. Oh, yeah.
Look, with everything that's going on with Randy Gregory, you'd rather not get a pass rusher and go. I understand, get the meat and potatoes. But this is a guy who is a possible cornerpin of what you bring every single year, and this is a guy that people have to worry about.
See,
as a rusher,
I personally, I had Taco Charlton rated a little bit higher than T.J. Watt just because I felt like T.J. Watt was getting a lot of hype based on his last name, but
I mean, his measurables, 6'5", 242 as a rusher.
Right. But I was never big on Taco Charlton anyway. However, for their need and the prospect that was available, that was a decent pick at the end of the first round. Right. Even though, I mean, looking back, I probably would have taken TJ.
Yeah. Well, I thought Taco was just a product of a really good team.
He was.
Being on a pedestal and Harbaugh just bringing everything up. Everything is elevated with Harbaugh.
Yeah.
You saw it with the 49ers.
True. I mean, yeah.
And that's why I thought a lot of it was. But this is a guy who comes from Wisconsin, which is hard-nosed, which is very physical, that their offensive line is always one of the best in the nation.
Always is.
And this guy's going against him every single day in practice. This is a guy you know is going to step in and do well for you. I hate the Steelers, but they had a good pick there.
That was a very good pick. But I think that Dallas's next 2 picks is what really gave them a good draft for me. Round 2, taking Chidobe Awuzie. He's first-round talent. He's very good. Then round 3, taking Jordan Lewis. They just lost, what's-his-face, Carr and Morris Claiborne. So, I mean, it makes sense as to why they got them.
For the future, in a secondary-heavy draft class, yes, it was right. But this year, they are going to be taken advantage of. Because if you tell any NFL quarterback that he's about to go against 2 starting rookies on each side.
No, not only that. I mean, they're going to probably play Jordan Lewis inside in the slot. And then they have Anthony Brown on the outside, who's a second year coming from a small school. They're going to get, and with no safety help back there, no safety help.
But we have to give respect to Marinelli because Marinelli is very good at his job.
Right, but they have that doesn't, I mean, just good coaching, even though that doesn't put players on the field all the time.
You're going to get picked. You're going to get picked.
They are going to get picked apart. I mean, unless Awuzie comes up and just has one of these Marcus Peters
seasons. Which would be
just
the Dallas luck.
I know. It would just be. They have had some pretty good draft classes over the last few years. All right, we are right at about the hour mark now.
Really?
Yeah. I think we're a little bit over an hour.
Oh, my God, yeah, it is 8:30.
Yeah.
All right, well, the Caps are up 1-0 right now from what I can see. So hopefully this game stays the way it is, and we can end this out and go 2-1. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you to Extraordinary Entertainment for supplying us with all this great equipment and allowing us to come in and record this.
Yeah, definitely. Also, everybody, if you get a chance, go check out the live stream that we posted on Facebook before we did this. Also, I don't want to toot my own horn here, but I just figured I talked to some people and I'd give it a shout out. Come on out this Saturday night to Mix Bar and Grill in Silver Spring. I'm going to be DJing. I'm not going to get there. I have a job before, so I won't get there until 11. I love you. it.